Hi everyone, my name is Mary Clow. I am an Indiana State University nursing school student, and today I'd like to talk to you about alcohol use in our rural adolescent population. Right now, if I could get you to please pause the video, take our short pre-quiz, and we'll be right back with you. Thank you. Welcome back everyone. Let's take a look at what we're going to learn about today. First of all, we are going to look at some of the numbers, the amount of rural teenagers who drink versus urban teenagers. We are also going to discuss what happens in an adolescent's body when they drink alcohol. We will discuss peer pressure and ways to prevent drinking alcohol. We will also be looking at some resources to obtain help if you need it or someone you know needs help. Here are some current statistics from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Between the ages of 12 and 17 years old, 32.7% of rural teenagers and 33% of urban teenagers participated in drinking alcohol. These percentages may seem like they're pretty close, but when you look at the urban populations and how many teenagers are present, this number becomes quite significant. Binge drinking means 5 or more drinks at one time for a male, 4 or more drinks at one time for a female. 25.2% of rural teenagers and 18% of urban teenagers have participated in binge drinking. Heavy binge drinkers will have participated 5 or more times in 30 days. Some other recent numbers include 10% of 8th graders and 34% of 12th graders who admitted to drinking alcohol in the last 30 days. Of these teenagers, 5% of 8th graders and 17% of 12th graders admit to binge drinking in the last 2 weeks. 5% of teenagers drove a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol, and 17% rode with someone else who is driving under the influence of alcohol. I'm sure you've probably heard it before, but let's touch on driving under the influence. 10,511 deaths in 2018 attributed to driving under the influence. In the rural populations, that's 45% or 4,714 deaths. 29% of all rural traffic deaths are attributed to driving under the influence. This is an MRI comparison of two 15-year-old brains. In the brain on the left, an individual who does not drink alcohol. In the brain on the right, a person who drinks heavily. They have been given a memory test to work, and as you can see, in the brain of the heavy drinker, there is only a tiny amount of pink. In the brain of the non-drinking individual, there is quite a bit of pink and red. This is suggesting to researchers that heavy alcohol consumption plays a part in inactivating the areas needed for memory retention. It takes the human brain approximately 25 years to fully develop. Adolescence is the most important time frame for learning, and the brain is especially vulnerable during this neurodevelopmental period. Alcohol is a depressant. It slows down the function of the central nervous system. Even low amounts of alcohol affect the brain in areas that control judgment, behavior, and impulse control. This is especially dangerous in teenagers because they don't feel the effects of alcohol as much as adults do. And the negative effects of alcohol last up to 2 weeks longer in the teenage brain. Drinking before the age of 15 increases the chance that the brain will be wired for alcoholism. Learning and memory are the biggest areas of damage to the brain. Psychological health is another area that is greatly affected by drinking alcohol during the teenage years. Problems with attention, learning, and memory can affect the brain for the rest of a person's life. Drinking alcohol long term causes physical problems as well. Alcoholic hepatitis, liver fibrosis, fatty liver disease, stroke, esophageal, throat, mouth, larynx, breast, liver, and colorectal cancers, high blood pressure, an enlarged heart, and an irregular heartbeat. Peer pressure is a major factor in a teen's decision to drink alcohol. Here is a handy game plan to help you prepare to just say no if you find yourself in one of these situations. Stay busy with sports, clubs, or other recreational activities. Choose friends who don't drink alcohol. And be aware, people might be bragging about how much they drink, but they're really not drinking that much. If you are somewhere where alcohol is being served, have soda or juice. If you are seen with a glass in your hand, you are less likely to be pressured. Think of a response before you get into these situations to say no to alcohol. Talk to your parents about drinking and handling difficult situations. You can even use your parents as an excuse not to drink. Make a decision to stay sober. Understand the risks and the potential dangers of drinking alcohol. Prevention starts with you. Yes, you. You can decide not to drink alcohol. You can also decide to help support others who make the decision not to drink. Do not serve or help provide underage drinkers or people who are already too intoxicated. Talk to your primary care provider if you need help or counseling. There are many ways that members of the community can help as well. By training law enforcement officers and inviting speakers to the school on the issue of underage drinking. Screenings by healthcare providers for those at risk. Forming programs in the community to help for those struggling with alcohol use. Involving social services and forming support groups through churches and employers. Here are 3 resources for help with alcohol problems. We are ending with a quote that has been around for many years but is more important than ever. Save a life, don't drink and drive. Here are some of the resources that I used in the making of this video. There is still a lot more helpful information on these sites. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to take the post test to see how much you've learned.